Hello, dear listeners. Today we have with us Andy Gwynn, who happens to be living in the south of Spain under the sun. But that's not the key point about today. So today it's so Andy, tell us, what's your as a business owner, what's your biggest success, your biggest triumph up to now?
Oh, thanks, Thomas. I was thinking about that because I've been in business for myself for 21 years this month. And I was thinking, what is it? Because there's so many, and I know you want to know the sort of learnings from that as well, and I probably weave them in. I think the biggest, when I say biggest success, that's been the most life-changing and business-changing for
Okay.
me, and it will follow on from your next question if you're going to ask me the biggest failure,
Yeah.
because it came after that really. And as you know, I was coaching business owners for 10 years and then from 2010 morphed into helping people get results through LinkedIn. And so I was predominantly coaching people, running trainings, yeah, and workshops and seminars. And I remember exactly where I was sat. A guy rang me, or I don't know whether he messaged me or rang me, but I've got this, I don't know whether he said software or system to automate your LinkedIn activity. And my first thought was, yeah, right. I get hit with these every month or so. I can't be asked. But I'm a big advocate of keeping an open mind. I struggle with people that are closed-minded. And I was sat there and I thought, practice what you preach, reply to his email. So I said, okay, or whatever it was. I said, yeah, okay, I'm happy to have a conversation. And we clicked, we gelled. I know exactly where I was stood, and I remember where I was because we were in a bit of a downer. And he had got this. He is an incredible guy who built and sold a social media business. So he understood marketing, but he's a developer and has a team of developers. And that guy, you know all about the brain. That for me is a bit unique because he understands marketing and he understands coding and black art developing. You know, those two sides of the brain for me don't often appear in the same person. And we got on, we gelled. And so I said, I'll have a look at it. And for me, you can't just send me something, you've got to show me something. He did that. And we got on very well. We got a lot in common. And I took this and it was revolutionary. And in the marketplace at the time, it was as unique that I could find. And it automated me being able to go out and connect with people on LinkedIn, then to message them and message my connections, which I've never been able to do because I've got so many connections. And so I started using this for my own lead generation, but also selling it to other businesses. But what that's morphed into, and I remember again where I was stood, but in southern Spain this time, when he said, we're not software salespeople. I said, I've got people just telling me they don't want to buy the software, they want to do it themselves. They want me to do it for them. And my little voice as a coach said, no, let me coach you to do it so that what is it? If I feed you for a day, if I teach you to fish, I feed you forever. And then my other little voice said, no. If the audience and the customer and the marketplace want something, give it to them. And I've developed a done for you process, which is now generated me hundreds of thousands. It's the main revenue stream in my business and has been for 7 years, all because I decided to take that phone call. And yes, I can share it with others. Yes, it's highly leveraged. And I'm working with him. You know my post party club. The same guy developed that later on. It spawned into a great friendship, brilliant business partnership, but it is 80% of my business. Yes, I have investments outside of building a business. And the investments that I have, and you know some of those, are people that have come to me through LinkedIn because of what I've been doing using his software. So the spread of that, is that the biggest success? Yes. I mean, is that one thing that you were after where it's like, what have you done that was successful? I got a lead to speak in front of 2,000 people for 15 minutes twice in a day at a conference. So I could say to my father, I got paid 5 grand to speak for 30 minutes, but I happened to be there all day. So I could class that as a success. But I think that was it from keeping an open mind, because I nearly said no. My little voice nearly said, I've heard it all before, I'm too busy. I can't hear you. Are you on mute?
Sorry.
Ah,
What made you listen to that little voice?
I think I think it was my internal self-talk, but I just caught myself, first of all, going, not another one. I get a load of these and I can't be bothered. And I just remember catching myself going, be congruent, practice what you preach. You tell people to be open-minded. when I start working with a coaching client, my upfront contract with them is, are we going to agree to keep an open mind? Because I'm likely to hit you with things that you think you've done before, that you think don't work. You're open-minded. We've just had a conversation, haven't we, about something that you said didn't work, and I said it's possibly it didn't work because of this. Are you open to still having a look at it a little bit further? Yes. And I think people have asked me what you attribute to success. I think one is consistency. To keep going, if you have a belief, I've had an absolute belief I'm in the right space.
Right.
I'm not in the business coaching space, but I'm still in the consulting and speaking space. It's the same. And I absolutely knew when I bought my business coaching franchise that I was in the right space. But then the second thing is keep an open mind. The moment you say something doesn't work or something's not going to be good, and I get if you're absolutely full on and busy, then I've got to filter out some people trying to pitch to me, sell to me. But I just remember going, probably because I was having a bit of a tough time as well, which we can talk about, that I went, why not? You never know. Never say never. You never know. So keep an open mind. It was that internal self-talk that went, no, at least have a listen to what the guy's got to say.
Well, that's good. That's good because sometimes yes, we're so much into a rhythm, or and getting stick to what we do and not trying something else. That's a good one. So, and that brings us to the other question that you already mentioned. What were your biggest failures? Because I mean, we all fail. There is no one. I never met anyone who says no, everything works fine. Oh, you're not trying hard enough to fail.
It's interesting, isn't it? And just going back to the previous thing, I think also the guy, my friend Mike, he was a good salesman, a marketeer.
Right.
His message was good. He pitched well to me. And so for the people listening, flip that round, learn to pitch, sell, market better. More people might be open to listening to you. Biggest failure, without a doubt, maybe other than some personal relationships, I don't know, has got to be before this automation. I was running training days for corporates. I was running a 12-week coaching program, and I was doing workshops within LinkedIn. And I made 10 grand in a month once or twice. And okay, there might have been some coaching clients and other stuff in there, but I came from a franchise background. I was a
Okay.
franchisee. I bought a business coaching franchise. I got paid by them to coach franchisees. I'd coached other franchisors. I'd coached people to franchise. So obviously, a bit of incongruency. So we franchised, me and my partner, the LinkedIn training business. And naively, I thought, if I can do this, anybody can do this. And I've had a long time in history just taking that for granted and being proven wrong, that not everybody can do it right now. Because I don't think I was anything special. I didn't. I had one term at college. I never went to university. I worked in a warehouse and worked my way up over many years. So I just think I'm nothing special. If I can do it, anyone can do it. And actually, I coached business coaches in my old franchise, and I used to get given those by the franchisor, and it would invariably be the ones that were struggling. And
Okay.
I believed that it was difficult to become a business coach because it's very high skill. A, to sell that type of service, but B, to coach the business owner through a lot of their stuff. It's a high skill. So I thought franchising LinkedIn training would be a lot easier for the franchisees to pick it up, model what I do, and run.
Okay.
Not so. I had 5 people fail, struggling to make money, and they collectively got together and sued me.
Oh, nice.
Potentially sued me. And it was interesting because we are very highly values driven. And I remember talking to a franchisor who said, just let him go. He said, we get sued periodically. And I went, no, they're lying. What they're leveling at me, they were suing me for, they got hold of a lawyer as well. And then they got together collectively. It was a beautiful story in a way. Long story short, I'd made a statement about how much they could earn. And I remember being sat around my kitchen table with my partner, Mary, and we had a girl we worked closely together. We did a lot of our marketing. And I went, this is what we can put in the brochure. And I remember thinking, I haven't technically done that, but we're about to. Or we haven't had anybody else technically do it, but I've done it. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. And if you know lawyers, you can imagine where they picked holes. So it was all on this. My barrister said, we think you're going to win, but if the If the judge doesn't like beards, who knows? We got to a point where my lawyer said, look, even if you win, they've got no money. That's why they're suing you. We know people attack when they're in a when you're backed into a corner,
Uh-huh.
and especially over money. And some of the irrationality that had been leveled at me, it was a major failure. We didn't get sued. We dropped hands. We were able to walk away, but it cost me a lot of money, tens and tens of thousands in legals. I'd scaled down the business because I thought if they do win, I don't want them to take much. I was buying this house in Spain at the time, so there was a big risk that I could have lost that. And the lesson after for me was, don't run with the emotion and presume. Be very, very systematic and specific, which I might have been in a corporate job. I just thought I've got so much to share. I'm having such a great time delivering myself. I can share this with other people. They can do the same. And I probably didn't cross the T's and dot the I's in the way that I could have. And I didn't, because we've got values. I would never have sued. I used to get people talking about suing my old franchisor, and I would
Uh-huh.
never do. I would never do that. I've just said earlier that we have some upfront contracts. One is keeping an open mind. Another one is take total ownership of your actions and your thoughts, your behaviors, your actions. I chose to buy the franchise, open-minded, buyer beware. I would, so it's my, if I couldn't make it work, I took ownership, and I thought they would do the same,
Yeah.
and they did. So it was but what it did do, because of my style, it forced me down afterwards to sit down and go, what do I want and what don't I want? And I realized that for me personally, and I've studied leadership at the Open University, I've studied management, studied psychology. The hardest thing for me is dealing with people. So my business now has minimal amount of people. You know, my post-party club is low entry, but I want numbers, but it's low entry. So if people go, it sort of doesn't matter to the business model. So it made me realize or define what do I want and what don't I want in my business and my life going forward. But it was very, very painful financially. And it wasn't until really afterwards I realized how painful emotionally it was.
Yeah.
I presumed it would be to Mary, my partner, but actually, being honest, it had a big impact on me because I had close friends around me going, yeah, we knew there was something happening. We have never seen you like this before. And they could see the difference when we got out the other side. So that's got to be the biggest failure, because also if I'd have built that franchise properly and recruited the right people
Mm-hmm.
and or managed them even better, either those people might not have failed or they might not have
Okay.
come into business and therefore they wouldn't have been in a position to fail. So it was a failure, not just for me personally, but I can imagine the pain those people were going through. There was one guy in his 60s. I can imagine the conversation around his kitchen table with his wife because he was eating into his pension fund. And I didn't want that for anybody. So it was a major fail for in so many ways. But you are right. I've heard a great entrepreneur, when asked what would he do again, he said, I'd learn to fail faster. And I have had cases in my business because Mary, my partner, is very different to me. She will hang on to clients. And we had a previous business that I moved away from, and she said, I've stopped flogging a dead horse. I said, maybe, but you still sat on the horse. You've got to get off it.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Uh-huh. That's a nice that's a
so,
nice way to put it.
so that is without a doubt it was the most, one of the most life defining, but certainly probably the most painful, certainly in business.
Okay. Okay. And what are the lessons you learned over those 20 or so years of running a business and owning one?
I have those principles that I've said: keep an open mind. Perseverance is number one if you believe you're on the right path. And that doesn't mean it's the right direction. Doesn't mean the path doesn't change.
No,
You know,
that's a nice split. Yeah.
you know
I
where
like
I'm at.
the difference between the path and the direction. That's a good
I've
one.
just made that up so you can have that, because I'm just
It's a good one.
it is, isn't it? We'll both share that. Because I started off as a business coach, now morphed into LinkedIn, but I've also got investments, as you know, and we've got other product ranges within our business. And I was taught that in life, you should get a job to learn how to build a business, learn aspects of business, go into business,
Mm,
maybe sell the business, make the money, and then invest. property is probably the easiest investing to learn. And then the markets, well, I'm investing in the markets, but I'm never ever going to learn it. So my twist on that philosophy that I was taught was find experts who you can give your money to and the professional that then can invest. And of course, you've got to trust them and know them.
Yeah.
So perseverance. I knew I was on the right road, the right direction. Yes, the paths have changed a bit, but I absolutely believe that this is my vocation. This is where I want to be. And so perseverance, keep going, because if you keep going, yes, you might have to look differently. Yes, you might have to be honest. Yes, you've certainly got to learn. Yes, you've certainly got to take advice. You can't just sit and wallow, because then you probably will collapse. But if you keep doing that, it will get there. And of course, within that is keeping an open mind and being open and honest. But then I've also realized that I understand personality types, and my type is to run fast. And certainly after that failure, I deferred to Mary, my partner, a lot more in decisions. Even if it was just to check in with her, regardless, I was going to make the decision, but it's just forced me to think about it in a bit more depth, because my style might be, if there's 7 steps, I might go 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, and I might miss, and I might get there quicker, but I also miss opportunities.
Okay.
And I tried to build that franchise too quickly without the level of detail. And what we need yin to our yang. So Mary in my business is very good. She's the people person. But we think differently. It means we argue a lot, but it also means that I can throw something at her and she'll come at it with a different perspective that gives me then more of an overview in order to make the decision. So I think, and also I've really got to not presume. And I didn't go into, I sort of did go into, here's a big lesson. I did go into that franchise trying to sell the franchise. When I generated leads, of course I wanted them to buy, because I have a belief that sales is professionally helping people to buy. If you have something of value, whether it's going to help them with time, money, whatever, if you've got something of value, your role is to help that person buy it, because you know it's going to be of value to them. That's always been my mantra. But the flip side of that is I probably sold this to the wrong type of people. Who couldn't sell and make it work. So we know we should never chase the sale. But I sold it to the wrong people. But I've never really been in a business before where that's been critical. You know?
Okay.
I used to sell safety footwear. If I sold the boots to the wrong person, that wouldn't happen. But if I sold the wrong type of footwear to someone, it would get sorted out or not. It wasn't critical to anybody particularly.
Yeah.
So
I think that's something that a lot of people are missing, and that's why I'm trying to when it comes to ethical persuasion, you have to know perfectly, absolutely precisely, who is your ideal client, who is going to buy from you, and because that's what's running the decision process. So if you don't know to whom you are selling, you cannot target the right decision process. So no, you
right.
learn it the hard way. So
and yeah, and the other thing with that as well is, I think, and I still do, and it's a lifelong lesson that I still haven't cracked totally, is never presume. You know, human beings are weird. Never presume. I mean, some of the emotional stuff that came out from those people, and some of the lies and some of the behaviors, I just never saw coming. And even when you presented a absolute black is white in front of someone, they just argued it was yellow, and it was, how on earth can you do that? But I remember in my 20s, I was a manager, and I managed a team of people, and I had a young kid. He was aggressive. He got a bit of an issue, chip on his shoulder. He was an Indian. He came to me one Saturday morning. I'd be in the canteen. My warehouse guys would be stock taking. He gave me a piece of paper, and I said, "What's this?" He said, "It's the death certificate of my friend's baby." I said, "I've got a hangover, I think." I said, "Well, why? Why are you giving me this? I want to go to India to the funeral, but I don't think you'd let me go." And it was like, well, first of all, I couldn't do anything about it. Secondly, what on earth do you think of me as your manager and your leader? And that stuck with me over 30 years. And ever since, I've coached a lot of coaches. When they've come to me, I presumed, you must know this stuff. You must be good. We can run fast together. And it turns out they're not. They're incongruent. So I think another lesson is never presume. Keep digging deep to understand where that person and those people are.
Yeah, it's sometimes very surprising. It's the same thing for me when you coach. Up to now, I'm lucky. I have coached business owners and CEOs and so on who know what they want. But I recently talked with with some other coaches and about moving forward. And it reached a point where some coaches have to explain to the people that you should take a shower daily. You know, I don't get a job, but did you show up like that? Or, you know, it, you have to understand that, as you said, people they are not like you are, or they are not like your common client. Some are somewhere else. I mean, I attended online events, and you know, you can look at all the people who are online, and you see people who are there taking notes and so on. I could see a guy, he was sleeping in his bed. Why would you show up online if you are sleeping in your bed? What's wrong there? And they pay to attend the event, so it's
I don't know. I don't know. There's lots of stories. I don't know, but that I think that's another lesson for me. It's never presume. I take people at face value, but actually, we know the broken swan syndrome. People look graceful and white on the surface. You look under the
Mm,
surface, and the legs are possibly broken. It's a great metaphor. I need to. I probably just look at the swan more than I could. I need to perhaps look under the surface more before starting to work with
mm,
some people and perhaps perpetually doing that. So that's probably a big reminder. I knew it. It's not a lesson. It's been a big reminder, and especially with those four, you know.
mm. Yeah,
So
yeah. Okay, so what would be a nice or great takeaway for today for the listeners? What you'd like to share with them that they should keep in their mind?
I think it's to reinforce my values of keeping an open mind. I still struggle with people who are closed-minded. Um, yeah, if they ask for help and then they don't take it and they're closed-minded, I can sort of call them on it. But it's people that will just I sort of, I guess, argue with you because they're opinionated. And the guy I've mentioned him just, he taught me get a job, but learn about business, make money, invest in property. Brad Sugars, who founded Action Coach, but he also taught me never argue with an idiot. It just makes two of you. And I add to
That's a good
that,
one.
and I add on to the end of that, and they're probably better at it than you. They've probably been doing it longer. But I still get frustrated. I know I get frustrated with people that are closed. If I believe they're missing an opportunity, a trick, something to serve them better, some money or whatever it might be. So I think keep an open mind, and I think also if you believe you're on the right road, it's your calling, your path, perseverance. Um, and I guess around all that, one of the things I speak about this on stage, as you know, I call it how to reboot your neck-top computer and control your inner critic. And we talked just before we came online, I think, about the affirmation of what other people think of me is none of my business.
Mm,
Doesn't mean I don't care what you think of me. I'm not going to be sat in bed, and I don't care what you think about this beard. I care more about what you get from this, and it's your problem if you have a problem with this, not my problem. But what was the other thing I was going to say? Around all of this is your environment, because that impacts on how we feel and impacts
yeah.
on us. So again, I was taught we will achieve plus or minus 10% of our environment. So when I stepped out of employment, bought into Action Coach, I'd gone from 40 grand and a car and a pension and whatever, like a couple of my friends, to being surrounded by multi-millionaire business coaches around the world. So I made it my business to go to global European conferences and meet with these guys because I
Wow.
wanted my environment to be like that. So I think, and the other thing as well, biggest thing I think is pay attention and notice constantly. I think the most important thing in the world is what I say to myself about myself when I'm by myself. And that's what I did. You said, what did I do? What was it? And when I took the opportunity with the LinkedIn software with my partner Mike, I heard myself say, oh, I can't be bothered. And I caught myself and said, no, don't be an idiot, be congruent. At least listen to him. What have you got to lose? All of that.
Yeah.
So what you say to yourself about yourself by when you're by yourself is I think is powerful.
Excellent. Thank you for that. So, Andy, if people want to keep the listening to you or talk with you or maybe benefit from your services, where can they find you?
The easiest thing has to be LinkedIn. If they know how to spell my surname, Gwynn, my late father said it was the rare way of spelling Gwyn. It's a Welsh name. There is no English vowel in it. LinkedIn, there is only one LinkedIn trainer. If you search LinkedIn consultancy or LinkedIn training that looks like this, connect with me. I have 20 odd thousand connections. which means you then have those as second tier to be able to find in your searches. So it will grow your connection base hugely.
Right.
But when you connect with me, you will get some automated messages and go, what's he on about? I heard him being interviewed by Thomas. The moment you message me personally, I will reply.
Okay.
That's because I'm using my own automation in my own system. I'm passionate about the other thing is your network equals your net worth that you've probably heard about. I don't know who quoted that to begin with, but I've said to you now, I have 3 or 4 investment opportunities going on. One of them is huge and is just about to be launched as huge, which is automated foreign exchange trading. They are all from people that have come to me on LinkedIn. Some of them I've known, some of them I haven't known, and said,
Right.
can you help me with my business? And when I've looked at their business, I've gone, not only can you pay me to deliver on your LinkedIn stuff, but I want to put money into your business and work with you because it's awesome.
Okay.
So connect with me anyway, because it'll grow your network. B, that's the easiest place to find me, best place to message me if you want, and I will reply. And I'm happy to talk with any of your network, Thomas, because I've got plenty of free stuff around LinkedIn. I can point them to free Facebook groups, etc.
Excellent.
And obviously, if they've got a real need, I'm happy to talk with them. Because as you know, I'm really only working 3 or 4 hours a day while I'm down in southern Spain. So to take an extra call or 2 a day is easy for
It's
me.
acceptable.
And a pleasure. That's right.
Okay, so guys, you've heard it. Get in touch with Andy. So Andy, thanks a lot for your time. As usual, excellent, great stuff. And I hope we get you back soon on the podcast.
I'd look forward to it. Thanks for having me again, Thomas, and all the best with it. And let's I look forward to speaking with you again and seeing what we can do.
Thank you.